Greetings all. Here I am inside the Alamo, and they're going to be doing a musket firing. And keep in mind, all these are reproductions, not the original rifles.
I think we're going to start standing.
And as you see there, the woman just fired a shot. She shoots pretty good. Just imagine if there was an actual ball in that gun.
A big round of applause for Miss Dillard.
Woo!
Now, those of y'all that are kind of in the far back, we do have area on the side over here. You can get up to the ropes, but as long as you stay on the sidewalk over here. And there's a good bit of viewing that's preferably done on the side so that you can see all the smoke and flames coming out of these guns. Well, I hope everyone's doing well this very cold January morning here in South Texas. My name is Jackson Green. I am with the Living History Department here. I'm joined, of course, by Miss Dillard, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Jones, and Mr. Scott. And we're going to talk about and demonstrate for you the primary weapon that was used during the siege and battle of the Alamo, which is the smoothbore military musket. Now, these guns are the preferred weapon of the military for one reason and one reason only. They are not accurate. They are fast to load. A soldier should be able to do it in about 15 to 20 seconds on average each shot. But because these are smoothbore, that means that there is no rifled grooves down the barrel, which is a series of cut spirals that go into the barrel. The bullet hugs those grooves and will cause it to spin, making it go straighter, farther, and at far more accuracy. So with a long rifle, you should be able to hit a target about 2 inches square out to 300 or 400 yards. With one of these, you are likely to hit a man-sized target, well, probably within 100 yards if you're fortunate enough to have the wind on your side, which we don't. Now, we do have a spattering of different muskets that were used during the siege and battle here. So one of them is the model 1795 Springfield. That is the first weapon produced by the U.S. armories. It is a direct copy of the French 1777 Charleville because the U.S. government finds a lot of the Charlevilles already to go after the American Revolution, so they just copy them. Some of them they just restamp with an American eagle and the word Springfield on the back of them. About 20 years down the line after the War of 1812, the U.S. government produces what's known as the first American standard pattern, which would start with the model 1816, which is what Mr. Scott is holding. Both of those guns are 69 caliber barrels, but the most commonly found gun here would have been a British musket known as the Brown Bess. This is a 75 caliber barrel. The British made these from 1718 up until 1838. This is the weapon that the majority of the Mexican army is using, and over half of the Alamo defenders had 2 or 3 of these ready to go. But they all load the same way, they all fire the same way, and we need to get these reprobates back into line so they will be at the order arms. And then we're going to have them go to shoulder arms. This is the primary way of carrying the weapon in that left shoulder. It's relatively comfortable until you start marching 10, 12, 15 miles in a day, when that 10-pound musket gets really, really heavy with every step you take. So there are other ways to carry it. One is to support arms. They nestle the lock in the crease of the elbow. It gives them a lot more support, and they're no longer having the whole weight of the gun on their hands. And charging into the battle, they could grab the small of the stock, which gives them a little bit extra support. Shoulder arms. Now, there is a wonderful statement from the 1640s by Oliver Cromwell, who said that it is best in warfare to put your faith in God and to keep your powder dry. Black powder, if it gets wet, will turn into an oily mush and it will not work. So in order to protect these guns, because we would always have them loaded, we never know when we'll face the enemy, we'll have them go to secure arms. They have the barrel pointed downward, they're covering the lock mechanism with their elbow, and they can relatively keep their powder dry enough so that when we get to the field, they can fire. Shoulder arms. Now, even if they have fired already, these are 3 weapons in one. On the back end of the gun is a reinforced butt plate, so they are clubs. They are, of course, firearms. And those long pointy things on the end, those are called bayonets, and we're going to use them as spears to drive the enemy force off of the battlefield or to scare a bunch of cavalry horses that are about to crash into our line. So we would have them go to arms port, charge, bayonets, forward march, halt. If you can imagine about 47 other guys in a single line coming at you doing that, it is quite an intimidating thing to see on the field of battle. Shoulder arms. Now these are what are known as socket bayonets, so we can load and fire these guns with the bayonet attached, but that's one extra thing that we have to clean at the end of the day, so the old idiom is work smarter, not harder, right? So we're going to have them go ahead and unfix their bayonets. And now we're going to do the part that everyone came here to see. So we're going to do with the 12-step process of loading this firearm. First as a dry run, and then we're going to have them turn around, do it once at the 12-step, and then 2 times at the quickest speed. So the first command would be to load. Open pan. Handle cartridge. They pull out of their cartridge box a small paper tube, which has the gunpowder on top and a ball at the bottom. It's crimped over so that as they march, they don't lose the gunpowder. But that does prove problematic because they do have to have at least 2 opposing teeth to tear the top of the cartridge off with the next command, which is tear cartridge. Prime. They'll pour just a little bit of gunpowder into the pan of the musket, which will be their priming source, and then they will shut pan, which seals that gunpowder in, makes it relatively watertight, and they will cast about charge cartridge. They pour the remaining gunpowder down the barrel, they stuff the paper and the bullet in, and now we have to drive the bullet on top of the gunpowder so that it will be under pressure and will actually explode, so they will draw a rammer. Ram cartridge. Return rammers. Now this is important for two things. Number one, you notice that most of them are using their pinky finger. It's in case if the gun does in fact go off, they will only lose their pinky finger instead of their whole hand, which means that they can still keep shooting afterwards. Also, if you don't return the ramrod and you fire it out, yes, you just fired 2 projectiles, but you will never be able to reload this thing. Once the rammers return, they will go to shoulder arms. This will let the commanding officer know that they are loaded and ready to fire. The battlefield is quite a hectic place with artillery and other musketry going off as it is. So I can't hear them say that they are ready. But we will be looking down the line and notice that one of them needs to pull his musket in a little bit tighter. And that lets me know that we can go with the next 3 commands, which are to make ready, take aim, and fire. Big boom, they would do it all over again, and then be ready for the next round. Shoulder, arm. So we're now going to do that 1 time at the 12-step, and then 2 times at the quickest speed. As a reminder, we should be able to do the 2 at the quickest time within 20 seconds, so if y'all are wanting to help us out a little bit, you can time us. But for those of you who have little ones or sensitive hearing, you may want to cover your ears.
I think it's a garage just
Right.